Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex, and I have some updates from around the country from the Thaiger for you today, this wonderful Monday, January 29th. We're going to start with our main story today, and it's a tragic story. A British base jumper out of Pattaya recently fell to his death after jumping from 29 stories high and a parachute failure. Now, the incident, witnessed by onlookers who saw him crash through a tree, occurred on Saturday evening. Police discovered an unopened blue parachute and identified the victim as an experienced parachutist through his social media. He was reportedly filming a base jumping video with friends at the time. Now, base jumping, a high-risk sport involving jumping from fixed objects with a parachute, is increasingly popular but dangerous, with a higher fatality rate than skydiving. This incident follows the death of another base jumper in France in March 2022. The British Foreign Office is assisting the family of the deceased. Terrible story, very frightening, but it's definitely something that is a known risk when you're going into these situations. Obviously, there's so many safety measures involved with in preparation. This is nothing short of a tragedy, and yeah, it is. There's something oddly poetic, obviously doing something that he loved doing. He was very experienced in what he did, but it just goes to show you can never be too careful when engaging these extreme sports. So do be safe, especially here in Thailand. Now, moving on to our next story. Now, a Thai heiress, she recently inherited 13 million baht, but she's gone missing, and this has sparked a search. So, yeah, the search for Orathai, a Thai woman who disappeared after inheriting over 13 million baht, intensifies following her mysterious vanishing post a domestic dispute on January 8th. Despite extensive efforts, including a search in a pond near where her abandoned motorcycle was found, no trace of her has been discovered. Her sister, Kun Tirarat, provided details of Orathai's financial transactions, hoping to aid the investigation. Orathai moved to Thailand about 2 years ago with her new Swiss husband, who passed away in 2021, leaving her the fortune. She spent part of her inheritance on assets like a car, farmland, and mortgaged land, but her gambling habit and lack of employment raised concerns about her financial management. The police now have her bank account details, which show large withdrawals and purchases, including a car, farmland, and a motorcycle, and also records of loans made to others. The family continues to search for Orathai, determined to uncover her fate. Very interesting story. It sounds like hopefully she can be located and hopefully she's safe. But it sounds like she had her fingers dabbling in a lot of different areas, including gambling debt. This is all allegations, of course. But hopefully she can be tracked down because it's one tragedy begets another. Her husband passed away in 2021, and now here she is missing. So hopefully the search continues and it can end swiftly with her safe return. Okay, now moving on to our next story. So police in Suphanburi have arrested over 20 youths for illegal racing in the streets. Now, the operation led by Police Lieutenant Colonel Kun Pirapoj and his deputy was conducted at the Banpo intersection in Suphanburi province. Over 20 officers participated, apprehending the racers and confiscating their motorcycles. Parents were called for minors involved, and all cases were recorded for further legal action. The police emphasized the legal consequences of such disturbances, including fines, imprisonment, and vehicle confiscation. Additionally, parents or guardians of minors could face legal responsibility under the Child Protection Act, with potential imprisonment for neglecting supervision. While minors under 15 may not face punishment, their parents or guardians can be summoned for admonishment or probationary measures. For those aged 15 to 18, the court will determine any conditional measures or penalties, which may be halved depending on the offense's severity. This is a weird one, right? It's tough to be a parent in Thailand, I guess. In America, we're always concerned about our 16-year-olds and odd 17-year-olds getting into car accidents, being irresponsible, young. Yeah, in Thailand, the kids get their hands on motorbikes even sooner. So, yeah, the flames of youth and the carburetor of the motorbikes don't always make a good match, but these kids have all been reprimanded. They've all been, hopefully just slaps on the wrist. It seems like they were just kids being kids, but yeah, don't do that, all right? Illegal racing can lead to severe injury, especially for people not even participating in the racing. We've covered those kinds of stories before. So parents, make sure your kids are being responsible, especially if you're letting them drive around on motorbikes. All right, now we have some controversial stories here at the end. So, famous Russian rockers are facing deportation from Thailand after their anti-Ukraine war stance has gone public, and they may face a trial back home. So, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova accused them of sponsoring terrorism through their support for Ukraine, raising the possibility of criminal charges in Russia. 4 members hold Israeli passports, and one also has Australian citizenship, complicating the situation. The band members, critical of President Putin's government, were detained on January 24th in Phuket for performing without a work visa. Their arrest reflects the broader difficulties faced by Russian artists opposing the Kremlin abroad, as Putin intensifies a crackdown on dissent since the Ukraine invasion. This situation is part of a larger pattern of Russian authorities targeting expatriate critics, as exemplified by comedian Maxim Galkin, barred from entering Bali and fined in Dubai for supporting Ukraine. Moscow has labeled prominent figures like the lead singer of Bai 2, Galkin, and rapper Morgenstern as foreign agents, while Israel and Australia are assisting their detained citizens. The case exemplifies the global reach of Russian influence against its dissenters abroad. A pretty frightening story. I have many Russian friends here in Thailand, close ones, and they've lived abroad for a long time because they, just have been nervous about the direction of politics in Russia for a long time. Now, as an American, I'm used to being able to be an outspoken critic of whoever's in charge of my country. However, Russians are not often afforded that same privilege, that same benefit. So artists that go out and make these stances publicly, they're especially brave in my mind. So this is an interesting situation that Thailand finds itself in, because they've caught them performing without a work permit. But again, as Russian artists, it's very difficult for them to navigate the immigrant waters traveling abroad, especially these days. So hopefully this can get figured out. Hopefully they get to go where they want to go and are not forcefully deported back to Russia. We'll keep that story alive for you. Okay, finally, let's move on to our final story. This is a weird, wacky story of bravery in the face of a sheer nightmare. A Swiss man has sacrificed his arm to the clutches of a bear in Chiang Mai after wrestling with it for an extended period of time. Now, this 32-year-old, he was attacked while feeding the bear in its cage in the Chiangdao district. Now, when the bear clamped down on his arm and refused to release it, the man resorted to cutting off his arm at the elbow with a knife to save his life. He was first taken to the Chiangdao hospital and later transferred to a private hospital in Chiang Mai for surgery, though it's unclear if the limb can be reattached. This incident has sparked admiration from among Thai netizens for his decision to harm himself rather than the bear, acknowledging his bravery and the dedication to the animal's welfare. The bear, rescued in 2013 and brought to the Foundation for the Doi Pai Dang National Park due to space constraints, was the animal involved in the unfortunate event. Oh my God, terrifying, man. Like, this guy, apparently, keep your fingers out of the cage, people, but gripped on and apparently had the mental state to sacrifice his own arm. That's pretty wild, rather than I would have been stabbing wildly, I gotta say, personally, in that situation. When the adrenaline's flowing, I don't think that you're gonna be in too sound a state of mind. So I think whatever actions you take in that situation are gonna be justified, but hopefully the arm can be reattached. Hopefully the man is okay. He did save his life through these actions, so that's very impressive. But my God, what a tale of bravery and courage. And yeah, hopefully he will be okay. Good God. All right, well, anyways, that does it for our news updates from around the land of smiles for you today. We'll be back with all of our members on our live stream tomorrow, and then we'll be back with all of our subscribers again on Friday.